Okay, here we are, round one, game one. And right now we are looking at Noob Nath playing as the Americans, United States Forces. He's going to be playing against the Wehrmacht Steven JF. And really interesting to see these players because Noob Nath, I knew from Company of Heroes 2, Steven JF, I knew him as far back as Company of Heroes 1. And it's great, actually, to see people still being prominent in the scene and joining up to tournaments and, you know, so many years of kind of being in the community and still retaining, like, top talent. I think that's really impressive. So let's have a little look at our map to begin with. We'll just have a little overview of the map. So obviously top and bottom you've got your heavy fuel points, high munitions points, close to the center of the map but easy enough to the base that you can hold that, and you've always got these pretty harsh cut-off points, I feel, that are right outside the base, and if you take one of those you pretty much eliminate your opponent from resources for a period of time. So it's an interesting map. Early game we're going to have Noob Nath try to chase off the Kettenkrad with the US Jeep. Now it hasn't come out with Veterancy, which gives a little bit away of his early game strategy in tacking. Sometimes you do see this come out with a star. Although if I'm completely honest, I forget what that I forget what that means. Kettenkrad's super crucial in the early game because, of course, it does have a slightly quicker capture speed, so having that unit alive and able to just kind of go across the map quickly and capture points quickly is super useful. And if you can keep that alive kind of into the mid game, upgrade it with communication cables so he gets a bit more resources from every point that he captures, that will really help Wehrmacht to kind of snowball their resources later on into the game. Really nice foresight from Steven here, just making sure that he's got green cover sandbags laid up everywhere he wants to take a foothold at the start of the game. It's good to see, because Noob Nath is going to want to make the most that he can from this Jeep. And Steven JF has got to do everything he can just to stop that early game from the US. Pioneers here, good decision to stop building, get some close range. I think he's trying to use the Kettenkrad just to push the units away so they can't fire back. I love seeing that. But Pioneers are not coming out of that fight, I don't think. He's got to be very, very careful. There's still 3 models on the Pathfinders, so yeah, good decision to get out of there quickly. Jeep wants to chase, but I think he's found a target in the Kettenkrad. And after a little do-si-do, the Kettenkrad gets away.
Crowds are securing our capture point.
Well, I think Noob Nath is having a fantastic early game here. He's really dealing with the Ketten's ability to capture the map quickly. He's reducing that, mitigating that very well. And if you look here at the bottom, uncontested, he's just been able to walk right up to the +10 fuel point that is outside of the base for Steven, and you know, and he's going to decap it, and that's huge. Putting Axis on the back foot with the fuel resource early on is quite essential for an allied victory. And he's just going to be able to walk up here and go to this manpower point and pretty much decap Steven from all his resources he's currently working on in the north. So this is a bit of a problem for Steven right now.
Rifles losing integrity.
Yeah, Steven's now decided to go for the MG42. It's going to help him secure a bit of the map, which he's going to need to do because US, especially going into double Pathfinder and triple rifleman, so easy to just call them bar people. Yeah, it's a pretty strong opening infantry build, so he's probably going to want to just lock down territory he can at the moment, make sure he doesn't lose this critical point here. But I think he's up against a really tough round 1 game at the moment. I can see this mid-game going very, very much in favor of Noobnath. Oh, I don't know what's happened here, but I think that might have been a bit of a click error. Yeah, Stevens going back with the Kettenkrad. It wasn't fully capped when he left. Can't be making mistakes like that in tournaments, and Steven will know that all too well. We've got a little mine going down here from the Pioneers, and that's going to stop infantry from pushing that crucial point. Maybe even catch the Jeep if he's really lucky, but Noobnath will be having to make some pretty serious mistakes if the Jeep goes ahead there without support.
Don't get distracted. Concentrate. Alarm. All victory points are under enemy
Captain
control.
as well, so of course Noobnath from his headquarters has gone for the infantry support center. He's got the captain out. He's going for that massive early game infantry push. And he's posed
Enemy movement near a victory point.
posed a real problem for Steven, who's now just going to get outflanked, or even if he goes head to head, he's not going to win that. Oh, what's this?
Victory point is under enemy
A shoe
control.
mine. Very, very obviously laid by the Kettenkrad right in front of the Jeep. And that's so sad, really, because you can see what Steven's trying to do, but just not getting the payoff. You can just see this ever-encroaching
Deploy.
US Army now just built a Greyhound. And I'm just thinking, like, what on earth has Steven got at this point? Let's just have a look at the army size in comparison. You can visually see Steven with far fewer units on the field is going to really, really struggle to deal with this. But some good play from his MG42 with a bit of scouting from his Pioneers. He may be able to get good suppressions on until he can get AT weaponry out. But yeah, here, Greyhound being sighted. I'm wondering if he's going to change his Panzer Grenadiers, but he's not. He's going to build those and then get his AT gun. Greyhound's going to go in to chase the Kettenkrad. It's a painful loss for Steven.
Panzer Grenadiere have been deployed to the front.
Alarm. Sector overrun.
There go the mines from earlier, but it's not enough to stop this huge decap. Noobnath, I think, credit to him, you know, he is doing a great job at the moment of just sticking to a really good strategy. He knows where the big points to hit are. He's been really, really focused the whole way through this early game, keeping Steven JF occupied in the north, capping the south. And even these retreats are going to be really, really hard through the Greyhound, through the captain. I think he's going to be lucky to get away with this. Maybe he won't.
We have lost control of a victory point.
Not looking good for Steven right now.
They are securing our capture point.
Weapon team at the ready.
Enemy forces have
Steven's got a difficult choice right now because he can do kind of what he's doing at the moment, start sending units down to the south, hope your opponent hasn't been laying mines, maybe put up a bit of a response there. If he does that, he doesn't have to worry about this strategic to capture point, which has been devastating to his resource income when it gets captured. But the other option is just to keep hitting really hard in the north and get a really good foothold there. I actually think, looking at the map, it's probably better for Axis in the north. I think there's quite a few decent green cover points in open space if you can keep your recon with Pioneers and what have you. But I'm liking this from Steven. This is a good response. It's going to take some territory, secure some territory with some mines. You can see, look at the support weapon right at the back of the map. I think that says a lot about how Steven's feeling right now. Grenadiers just getting bullied by these squads. Greyhound's there in the center. What have we got? We've got the 8-rad armored car from Steven. He's going to try and just use it to push away the Greyhound. I don't know how helpful that's going to be, but it's certainly going to be helpful in dealing with these infantry squads. It's probably the right decision for Stephen to make.
Victory point is under enemy control.
Let's see what else we've got in base. Nothing at the moment. Nubnath is still pretty heavily invested in this infantry strategy, so... Actually, I think the 8-Rad has come out at a really good time for Stephen.
We have vehicles ready to be deployed.
I am happy to see this. I'm happy to see the level of mines going down, because if there's one thing that's going to stop all this territory control from Nubnath, it will be catching the random units off guard with mines. Artillery called in here. And that's a really good preemptive artillery strike from Nubnath. Completely forces Stephen away. He may even lose the MG here. Really, really tense moments. Nubnath is of course responding to this. He's sending a huge army up to the north now, so Stephen has got to get his units into really, really good positions here and be expecting this. We see the AT gun is kind of ready for the Greyhound to come in. But Nubnath, he knows just to kind of push the outskirts with his Greyhound. That's where it's going to be most effective, and his units can scout for that AT gun and make sure he's always calculating the right range. It's actually a really well-paced game from both players. I think Stephen's doing amazingly to keep US back at this point. Bars have popped on the riflemen now, so their flanking potential has just gone up hugely. Just want to put the Fog of War on for Nubnath and just see if he's able to detect the mines that are going down just outside of his vision.
300 points remaining for the Germans. Territory lost.
Let's see if Nubnath's paying attention. He is. Got his eyes on units right at the bottom of the map.
Reports of enemy movement near our victory point.
8-Rad's just taking easy pop shots here at the moment, but green cover's making it very, very difficult for any of these shots to actually deal significant damage. And you can see their height difference just meant that squad totally underperformed in that engagement. This is actually the first game that I've cast of Company of Heroes 3, and you know, I have to say that I have been really enjoying the height mechanic as an addition to the Company of Heroes series. It's not always clearly obvious, the height difference, but you know, if you're prepared to kind of like dive in at map level and really pick up on these things, like for top players, it's a really good way of making sure you win engagements through the placement of your units.
Victory point now under enemy control.
Stephen has just about managed to stop the constant bleed of VPs at the moment. Nubnath is draining very slowly just thanks to one VP he has in the south, but you can definitely detect now from Stephen that he's committed himself to the north and mid here, so you can get some serious units out to contest.
Check the line.
I want to check for Stephen, so mechanized battle group, and I would guess if he hasn't teched anything here at this point, he's probably waiting to go straight up to the Panther for the late game, so could be right now that he's just going to hold with a big army, bring out a big tank later on. Is Stephen paying attention here? He's leaving this retreat really late. Greyhound will chase. I really haven't seen Nubnath make many mistakes at this point. But that being said, he's struggling to actually solidify his his advantage. And it's funny in a way because you look at Steven and you think, how is he still in this game right now? But he really is putting up a solid defense. As long as he doesn't lose any units at this point, you know, I definitely think he still has a chance to come back from what has been a really rough start to the game. Let's have a little look at Noobnath. So he's gone for the smoke bombing run, he's gone for the supply drop, and then we're just waiting to see what his final choice is. He hasn't gone for the rocket strike, so maybe he's going to look for a carpet bombing run.
You need smoke? We've got it.
Give us something to do.
And I'm just going to put the Fog of War on again, just for a moment, because I just want to have a little look at what Noobnath is actually seeing right now. It's difficult when you have an infantry army like this and you know your opponent has some support weapons and AT guns, that you really need to have the vision on that. So he has made the decision to commit through the center. It's a nice grenade from the Assault Grenadiers. Oh, they could pick up the paratroopers, but Steven's not confident. He hits the retreat. Bars are trying to flank deeper into the enemy territory just to get some decaps. And there you go. Discovered an engagement he can easily win. Steven's just not able to respond to this quick enough with the amount of infantry he has.
Keep your distance. Fight. Captain here. Stay low, goddammit!
Yeah, that's really good play from the 8 Rad armored car, and that's exactly what this unit needs to be doing right now. It needs to be kiting north and mid, just keeping those infantry units at bay, avoiding that Greyhound, backed up by the pack. Here comes the AT drop. So let's just have a quick look at Steven's base. He is going for the Panzer Company. So we are looking, he's got enough resources for it, more than enough fuel, just really struggling with the manpower damage that's coming from constant engagements with US, and that is Noobnath's strength right now. Great grenades though. You can really sense that desperation though, that he's just trying to get one VP just to make sure he's got enough VPs to last himself for the rest of this game. Every single bit of manpower loss right now is a big problem for Steven though, as he tries to get up to his first tank. I think the selection for him is going to be important here because we just haven't seen any tech yet from Noobnath, so Brumbar could be fantastic in this situation. It might be that he decides to go for Panzer IV in expectation of a tank, but it might not be the best option for him right now.
Commander, we've lost a sector.
Taking losses!
We're eating dirt over here.
All this smoke. Gonna make it as hard as possible for anyone to do anything. Good grenade, well dodged by Steven. Under all this pressure, he's still managing to correctly predict where the grenades are going to go, whether it's a good idea to retreat or not. Actually wins a pretty good engagement against the bazookas for the paratroopers. That's going to allow potentially the 8 Rad to come in and help again. Which, there's a bit less to worry about when the paratroopers are off the field. That would be a great pickup if you can get these paratroopers. Sorry, Pathfinders. He just misses it. It's not going well for Steven right now. He is 1 command point away from getting a Panther out, but he looks like he is investing in something. What is it?
Enemy at 250 points.
victory point lost.
I'm gonna have a look at the veterancy upgrades for the 8 Rad. So it has actually picked up a rate of fire increase. But I think you'd probably hope for it to be a bit more potent like that, a bit more potent than that, to be dealing with all of this infantry. Hopefully Stephen has just seen the engineers laying mines there, so kind of knows
200
what's
points
happening.
remain. We are losing our grasp.
It's a nice grenade.
You have CPs available.
Noobnath doesn't fall for it though.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
Those bastards ain't getting me.
Panzer IV is field ready.
And there it is. The Panzer IV was the choice. Genuinely thought he was going to save up for that Panther, but just think he hasn't had enough fuel income to get to that in time.
Any victory points, we must counterattack.
But he's got a lot of work to do with this Panzer IV.
Territory lost.
You're really starting to see the benefits of all those sandbags planted really early in the game and how they're starting to pay off, just really slowing Noobnath's advance and just giving a few seconds of time to respond or get some vehicles out that could perhaps turn this engagement around. Pathfinders could go down here to the Grenadiers. He is targeting. It's a good wipe, and every wipe counts right now.
We hold. Panzergrenadier ready.
For an opening game of a round 1 series, I think this is a fantastic game so far.
MG42 and crew available.
Steven's doing a brilliant job. Interestingly, we'll talk a little bit about the rule set after this game because as part of the rules for this, you're not actually allowed to play the same battle groups in a series. So if we do get to a game 3, we will not see a repeat of this game. All these armies. Nice stealth from the paratroopers with the bazooka. Just puts a little bit of pressure on Steven. Nearly loses it. That's really lucky. Finally, something starting to go his way. And actually right now I'm looking at Noobnath thinking, okay, it's Steven's got to a point now where he is able to deal with a lot of the threats that you've put forward. So what's the tech going to be? Really good moment for Steven actually. It's Noobnath has to kind of send a bulk of his army north or south. Steven's starting to spearhead through the center, so he's going to have really good map control if he can just lock himself outside of Noobnath's kind of central base area where that fuel point is. It'll make it really, really hard and really like time consuming for units to walk around the tip of the spearhead. It's a great MG42 position as well from Steven. He's just suppressing 2 of the 3 squads there, and I think the captain's not going to get away with this. Oh, he does! Really, really crucial. Do the assault grenadiers make a decision to go in? No, it's going to be the Panzer IV. Yeah, absolutely crucial that that captain managed to get into that green cover, and whether Noobnath actually intended that or not, I'm not sure, but he played it very well. There goes the green cover. Steven has to be careful here, because he can still lose this Panzer Grenadier squad if he's not careful. Good hits there, the Pak-40. Got another one. Sorry, with the M1 anti-tank gun. It's got another one, so Panzer IV is going to have to retreat. 8 Red armoured car again. Got to be so careful of these cloaked paratroopers. Noobnath just waiting for that moment, and coupled with a shot from the Greyhound, doesn't give Steven much time to react. He does have smoke canisters, but he hasn't used them in time. And every loss right now for Steven is really costly. He's got a lot of manpower, but just hasn't been able to get the fuel that he needs. It's really the story of this game. 94 VPs. And Stephen is trying to turn this into a triple VP hold. What a first game. I can see this is going to be a good series. Finally, 26 minutes into the game, we are seeing a tank depot from Nubnath.
Victory point lost.
His strategy only lasts about 25 minutes, which is very impressive for an infantry-only build.
Mine laid. Ordnance noted.
Battle
More
group ability
mines.
unlocked.
Same position as well.
Send us an MG and don't skimp on the bullets.
Would love to know the reason why. Maybe he's thinking to Nubnath, he'll never think I put a mine in the same place twice. He'd never think I was that silly.
We're dropping like flies here.
So with 2 Panzer IVs on the field, and again that's Stephen's tech choice, just to try and get as much arm on the field. That's actually a pretty good idea because there's no tanks out yet from Nubnath, so as long as he can maneuver them correctly, then actually he puts himself in a pretty good position in this game. If he can really boost the fuel income right now, he'll actually be sitting on enough fuel for a Panther in about 5 minutes, so it's amazing how effective Greyhound is still at this point in the game. It's been phenomenal play with the Greyhound from Nubnath, both of them. Picking up the Veterancy. Veterancy 3 is going to give more speed, more acceleration, more health and rate of fire, so it's 2 of those potentially on the field right now. Could cause problems if they get to that Vet 3. It could be a mistake here from the Greyhound. Does Stephen go all the way, knowing there's the M1 anti-tank guns hanging around, or is he going to leave it? It's probably a sensible choice. Flares have gone up from Nubnath just to make sure that the anti-tank guns can hit every single shot. Whoa, there's the carpet bombing run. I think probably flares were also a little bit, just to see if he could get the carpet bombing run
Our Vespa is ready.
on the retreating Panzer IV. Stephen, again, just making so many good tactical decisions right now. I am surprised to see this, though. Self-propelled artillery. Are we going to go for base attacks? Or are they going to pinpoint the anti-tank guns? Either would be pretty good.
Commandant, territory sector lost. Enemy forces have captured a victory point.
Let's just get a little bit of a view to where these AT guns are right now. So just outside of the range. Okay, yeah. Artillery is going on to those AT guns.
50 points left.
And this is going to be really punishing because it's quite clear, I think, that Nubnath
We have vehicles
has
ready
got his
to be
AT
deployed.
guns on a control group, so the moment they get too close together, it's going to be a ripe target for that artillery piece. It's a nice flank here.
G42 and crew ready.
Great bazooka into the wall.
On our flank.
Just what was needed. Okay, Nubnath finally has vehicles on the field. 2 Hellcats are going to try and pose the counter now to the 2 Panzer IVs. It's quite interesting. I think there's a bit of a misplay happening here, though, with the M1 anti-tank guns. Can Stephen capitalize on it, though? I think he's definitely missed the opportunity to take down one of those AT guns. I don't know why he's focusing on the one in the north when he could disable this one fairly easily.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
In the north, just this constant battle for the VP. And then we've got another carpet bombing run here. Too beautiful. Greyhound finally goes down to a combination of Panzer IV and Pak 40. What's really nice about Stephen is even though he's got 87 VPs left at this point, he's still playing strategically. He's making sure he's got his support weapon set up in the right place. He's making sure that before he actually just throws units into that point, which is what he needs to be doing right now, that he has actually got the backup to deal with the counter-offensive.
Never built a sandbag wall before?
And it really is super interesting game right now.
Coming!
75 points remaining for our forces.
It's quite an interesting positioning though. The smoke's gone down, but he's choosing to remain in the smoke. There's all sorts of risks associated with that. In the north, again, 2 bar riflemen easily going to be able to deal with these assault grenadiers, but Stephen at the moment, he's just going on the offensive. Mines being placed everywhere in these moments where he has an opportunity. There is no clear area of the map right now where Stephen has an advantage. It's a bit of a scramble. It looks like he is starting to turn his attention a bit more to the south.
Fuck! I'm in!
And really starting to see now, perhaps the hole in Nubnath's army here really is the fact that he just doesn't have the indirect fire at the moment to deal with the support weapons. He's relying entirely on his off-map artillery or his call-ins from the battle group. So they're on a timer. He's able to drop smoke again in a moment, but if you're looking at his munitions income right now, he's only plus 20 with 35 munitions left. He actually is under a lot of pressure. Stephen just laying tons of mines again, just whittling down those infantry numbers. It's been a really tough but solid game for Stephen. And I actually think, even though Nubnath's got 204 VPs, I think we could be looking at Stephen winning this.
Territory sector lost. Received. Enemy is down to 200 points. Initiating research.
So here comes the recon flares there, actually from the Austere mortar. So again, I think he's just trying to figure out where those AT guns are and if there's any threat to the Panzer IV. Playing that level of strategy right now, really important. Potential Faust here for the Grenadiers, but I think he's just a little bit late to the party. It is a triple VP hold right now for Stephen. Every single point is defended, whether by vehicle, support weapon, or infantry. And Nubnath, I think he's just got to commit right now. 2 Hellcats, it's enough of a threat to armor. The north is probably the weak side, but does he know it?
We have command points awaiting use.
Firing on us. Make a decision. Loud and clear.
Brief engine damage on Panzer IV. Here comes the airstrike.
Contact with the
I
enemy.
believe that's just going to be a simple smoke bombing run, just to allow those bar riflemen to get in there. Stephen's going to have to retreat that,
What do you want?
but he doesn't want to lose the VP. It's so important to him. And there is something pretty pretty strategic about waiting right until the last minute that smoke dissipates before making your retreat, because he is just holding on to these VPs. We're about to see these switch. I think in the last 4 minutes, Noobnath had about 200 VPs, so it's a big swing. Vesper artillery just trying to bombard the top. Anything it does right now is just helpful. Steven can just sit mid, sit south now. Just weaken those infantry as much as possible.
Artillery ready to deploy.
I think he's just unlocked the tech for a Panther now, and may decide to save for it. But his population cap is already at 90, so may have to lose a few units first.
Grenadier squad has been destroyed.
I'm sure that's not what he's actually doing. Hellcat's trying to flank, but is it going to be able to deal with these Panzer IVs? Gets a very fortunate Panzer IV turning the turret the wrong way. Can it get that last shot off? He actually escapes. That is really, really lucky. And right now we have artillery coming in for Noobnath.
We have 75 points remaining.
It's just trying to take the MG42 out of the equation in this central battle, but it's such great responses from Steven. He's got another one in the top as well, so it's nearly impossible at the moment for Noobnath to capture that VP in the center. Now you're looking at how desperate is this M1AT gun at the front lines, trying to capture VPs. It's going to be easily flanked. It's low health at the moment. The Pioneers are there to help deal with it. It's even got smoke, really, that it could use to its advantage if it wants to.
Commander, our anti-tank defenses are failing.
Careless to lose that, though, from Steven. I think he could have played that engagement better. But he's had one hell of a hard game. You can't blame him for making a few mistakes right now.
Down to only 50 points.
He's going to try everything he can. He gets the wipe! That's a huge wipe at a really critical moment. Noobnath is out of the game. He quits immediately. And I have to say, Steven, wow.